Итак, добрый вечер, друзья мои. Сегодня у нас начинается жатва, игра The Harvester. Шел 1996 год. Это те смутные и темные времена, когда видеоигры были причиной всего зла на земле. Они порождали невиданную жестокость в людях. Только-только отгремели ужасные события, связанные с игрой Кармака, Doom, который породил культ насилия. Впервые об этом стали говорить сенаторы, говорить то, что все зло, жестокость, все плохое в этом мире от видеоигр. И, конечно, спустя почти что 30 лет, 28 лет, мы наконец-то живем в безоблачном, добром, абсолютно безопасном мире, где не происходит ни стрельбы в школе, не происходит войн. Люди добры друг к другу, и, конечно же, дети никогда ничего плохого не делают. Ну и на экране можно увидеть совершенно бодипозитивных и абсолютно толерантных и диверсифицированных персонажей. Но сегодня так уж сложилось, что мы всего этого не увидим, потому что мы находимся в 1996 году. Это то время, когда интерфейсы были так себе, разрешения были так себе, сценарии были так себе, вполне себе такого грайндхаус уровня. Ну и, собственно, нормальных переводов не было, никакой достоверности. Естественно, не было никакой озвучки. И, в общем-то, не знаю, зачем мы в это играем. Наверное, потому что, чтобы показать, до какого ужаса, каких пределов не было в те времена. Честно говоря, друзья мои, я в эту игру никогда не играл. Ее в те времена рекламировали как супер жестокую, супер ужасную и вообще недопустимую ни для детей, ни для взрослых. И, в общем-то, эта игра и была порождена, и наверняка является апогеем насилия, жестокости, насилия ради насилия и всего такого мы увидим, ну или, может быть, на площадках уже не увидим сцен жестокости, насилия, откровенных сцен сексуального характера и так далее. В общем, всем неприятного просмотра, плохого сюжета, ну и моего кривого голоса. Итак, все управление здесь происходит через буквально одну кнопку. Мы можем нажать на что-то, на предмет посмотреть. Это типичный point-and-click, но у нас здесь уже нету никаких действий. Мы можем, собственно, ходить одним кликом. Все это снятая анимация, видео оцифрованное, соответственно, на пререндерных фонах это все выглядит вот так, как оно выглядит. Что ж, давайте осмотрим комнату. Сюжет игры пока что из того, что вы видели, это все, что нам известно. Более того, могу немножко забежать вперед и скажу, что нам ничего не известно. Мы играем за персонажа, которого мы не знаем, как зовут, вообще ничего о нем не знаем, потому что мы не знаем, кто мы такие. И давайте выясним, где мы, кто мы такие, ну и вообще все ли в порядке с этим миром. Я, честно говоря, очень долго, почти 2 часа настраивал эту игру, хотя, казалось бы, просто DOS-бокс, но мой компьютер старый, мой OBS крайне не хотел с этим всем дружить по какой-то причине, ну и вот что есть, то есть. Давайте проверим, что мы вообще в эфире и более-менее меня слышно. Ну да, очевидно, мы в эфире, все хорошо слышно, так что кто захочет, может там послать донатик, что-нибудь написать в чат, кто будет смотреть в записи там у печенек, а лучше не ешьте под эту игру. Итак, собственно, и будем пока что играть без прохождения, но игра настолько суровая, то что она нам не даст даже возможность что-то пропустить и сделать не так. Это не люкасартовские квесты, и тут есть тупики, из которых возможно не выбраться, поэтому будем время от времени сохраняться. Там здесь действие занимает несколько дней, ну, например, где-нибудь там раз в какое-то время будем сохраняться, еще может быть что-нибудь будет крэшиться. Так, у нас бинокль есть. Так, я не буду читать все прям надписи, и, может быть, посмотрим, нужно это будет, не нужно. Пластмассовый бинокль, прилепившийся к столешнице, книжные полки, несколько книг у нас в твердом переплете, зеркало, пустая корзина, команды «Пыльный котел», подписанный JPF. Интересно, это кто-то местный, нет? Так, изучить кровать в странных пятнах. Ну, пятна могут быть разного характера. Так, сексапильные кинозвезды. Ну, в принципе, да. Наверное, это кинозвезда. Так, растения. Недавно политые искусственные растения. Настенные часы. Да, нам время мы по ним не узнаем. Что еще у нас тут есть? Здесь вот, к сожалению, пиксель-хантер. Туфли. Шнурки. Что? Можно найти на тучу. Ага. Угу. Мустанг. А это? Thunderbolt. Ага. Так, это у нас шкаф. Ну, в общем, остался у нас только комод. Мы можем его открыть. Здесь у нас есть очки же, я вижу, да, очки. Не такое уж яркое. Согласен. Так себе будущее. Четвертак. Вот обратите внимание, что если вначале мы должны исследовать предмет, а потом только мы можем там взаимодействовать с ним. Так, шариковые ручки, следы от зубов, окей. Можно взять. Шарики какие-то. Все. Мусорная корзина, выйти можно. Лампа. Освещение — это ключ к видимости. Вообще многозначительно так. Так. Кровать. Бинокль. Окей, пойдемте дальше. Хэнк. Это же что мы вообще его знаем. Модель земли из папье-маше. О, мы можем пойти в ванну. Кухонное окно. Окно в кухню. Отлично. Часы с кукушкой. Ой-ой-ой. Шкаф. Красивый костяной фарфор. Здесь я вижу огнетушь. Старомодный телевизор. Ну, давайте.
What?
Обратите внимание, 1996 год, а здесь есть озвучка. Кто ты?
Leave me alone, Steve, or I'll tell Mom on you.
Ага. Оставь меня в покое, Стив. Нас зовут Стив. Стив?
Steve, are you talking to me?
Yeah, only I don't want to be, because I'm trying to watch my cowboy show.
I'm sorry. Look, I'm telling you, I need your help. I've lost my memory.
Have not. Cut it out.
I'm telling you the truth.
You always were a kidder, Steve. Leave me alone. I'm sick.
Ага.
Have you noticed that your show is in black and white?
What else? Color? On a TV?
Well, I think I've seen a colored television before.
Have not. Quit it or I'm gonna tell.
Hey, look at that. Your mother lets you watch this stuff?
Sure, this is part of history, what made America great. And besides, blood and guts are needed.
Ну, в принципе, да. Насилия по телевизору не должно быть. Нужно только величие показывать, естественно. Ну, не нужно.
Well, you can't stop me, so let me alone. Or else.
Or else.
What's wrong with
А
you?
что не так?
I got a headache and a stomachache.
Then why aren't you in bed?
'Cause I wanna watch my cowboy show.
You look all right to me.
I'm not faking. I couldn't go to school because I'm sick. Daddy's sick in bed too. And Mom believes me anyway. So shut up.
Ну, окей.
Your dad is asleep?
He and Mom went at it last
Ой,
night pretty hard. He stayed in bed. I saw what she did to him. It was pretty bad.
What did she...
Like you don't know. I saw you and her on the couch last Wednesday night. Guess that's why she's grounded now, huh? Too bad you wouldn't pay me and I had to tell, huh?
What are you talking about? What girl?
What? Is there another one too? Wait till I tell.
Ну, что ж, паренек прошаренный, все
I don't know what
нормально.
girl you're talking about.
All summer it's been Stephanie this and Stephanie that. And now you don't remember? You think I'm dumb or something?
No, I just can't remember anything, like I said.
Well, you better remember quick, 'cause the wedding's in 2 weeks.
Опа.
What?
Leave me alone so I can watch TV.
That's a weird-looking television. Come to think of it, this whole place looks totally retro.
What do you mean retro? All TVs look alike.
Sure, basically. But this is one old-fashioned clunker.
Old-fashioned? It's brand new.
Yeah, but look at the tube. Where's the remote control?
What's that?
Now that I think about it, I can't remember.
And what was that you said about retro rockets?
No, retro, it means... Oh man, I know what I mean. That everything here is wrong. But I can't picture the difference.
Then shut up and quit bugging me. I'm watching my cowboy show.
Ну что ж,
Have you noticed that your show is in black and white?
What else? Color?
Well, Hey, look.
What in the... Well, you can...
так, это мы уже говорили.
Good.
Так, ну, окей. Здесь раскрывается то, что Хэнк, у него есть родители. Возможно, мы тоже имеем отношение к его семье, его братом являемся. Возможно, нас зовут Стив, и, видимо, мы немножко из другого времени и что-то такое. Ага, так. Так, ну, изучить глобус, изучить родительское спальня, изучить свои вещи. О, если я на себе показатель здоровья. Понедельник. Жатва ленд, вещевой склад. Хорошо. Кухню можем пройти. Можем выйти из квартиры. Шкаф. На полках стоит костяной фарфор. Телевизор. Да. Дверь заперта. А на кухне? Опа. Ну, хорошо. Настенная вышивка. Изучить шкаф. Грязными подгузниками. Младенец. Ага. Огнетушитель. Пожарная. Духовка. Печется печенье. Мама. Печенье. Только что вынули из духовки, но здесь же печется печенье. Значит, еще одно. Говорить мама. Так, ножи. Злобно блестят в антисептическом сиянии кухни. Так. Ну, такое 50-е года. Хорошо, да.
Well, hello there. How about some cookies? There's plenty of rejects in the trash.
Who are you?
That's a fine way to talk to your mother.
You're my mother?
That's right. Though sometimes I get treated like the hired help around here.
I don't remember you.
Of course you don't. Until you need your socks washed.
No, you don't understand. I can't remember where I am or even who I am.
Land's sake, stop your joshing, won't you? Honestly, Steve, I thought you'd grow up a little after graduation. I only hope that new job will plant your feet on the ground.
So that's my name. Steve.
Your name will be M.U.D. Mud if you don't stop teasing me, young man.
Listen, this may sound strange, but I've lost my memory. Do you believe me?
Well, you always were a kidder, Steve.
I'm serious.
Sure, and next you'll be telling me you don't remember Hank and your little sister.
Ага. Ну, что ж, возможно, она и не является нашей матерью, а может быть и является, а может быть только в этом мире является. Пока непонятно. Диплом.
When did I graduate?
4 months ago, as if you could forget that.
Ага.
What
Студент.
College? A high school diploma is all you need to get a job. And besides, you can't marry Stephanie if you're going to waste your time going to college.
Мгм. Вот это
18 years
подход
old and you're
радикальный.
just now getting your first job. It's a disgrace, but better late than never. I guess we can thank Stephanie for that.
Стефани.
And just who is Stephanie?
Don't you dare toy with that sweet girl. If you start in on her with all this amnesia poop, she'll think her fiancé is having second thoughts about the wedding.
Мне кажется, бывают и другие девушки, но пока неизвестно. Допустим, свадьба.
Look, all this talk about weddings is nuts. I'm not marrying anybody till I figure out what's going on here.
First the heartbreak of psoriasis, and now this. 2 weeks before the wedding and you're backing out. Whatever will the neighbors think?
I can't marry someone I don't even know.
Fine, have it your way, but leave me out of it. If you're going to break Stephanie's heart, you march right next door and do it yourself. And don't expect me to write you a note.
Ага.
Fiance? This is insane.
Oh, you're not
Мне
having
кажется,
second
Стив
thoughts about
удивлен.
marrying Stephanie. Is that what this silliness is all about?
Can something like that produce?
Stop this foolishness right now and count your...
Так.
What's cooking and clean?
Honestly, boys are so dense. What else is there for a wife but cooking and cleaning? You may not appreciate a hot meal on a clean plate when it's there, but if it wasn't, we'd hear about it soon enough, I'll bet.
You're saying that's all there is to marriage? Cooking and cleaning?
Well, you'll have to ask your father about that, but I'm sure Stephanie will do her duty when the time comes.
Ага. Ну, времена меняются, и сейчас, конечно же, женщины — это не посудомойки и не приложение кухни, а вполне себе отдельный вид, и не только женщины. И вообще, женщиной, в принципе, можете быть и вы, и я, и оно, и они не только они, но и они.
Bless your innocence, but there are certain disgusting truths that go along with marriage. Facts that can't be disguised by sheets which wrap around the contours of flexing go-go's and bouncing legs. You can't know what I'm talking about, and that's best. When the time comes to make a baby with Stephanie, you'll have to make your peace with the fact that when a farmer plants his seed, he can't help but get some nasty dirt on his hoe.
Вот это прям аналогия. Забыл даже слово, как это называется, аналогия. Ну, в общем, да,
Don't forget to put the
фигуральное
papers out for
выражение.
Jimmy. You know how he gets.
Так я бы не против. Вот эта газета. Мама, которая что-то мешает, печеньки, детская кроватка, шкаф. Настенные, хорошо. А это что у нас? Выход куда-то. Раскраска. Раскраска Ranger Rider. Ну, хорошо. Допустим, в другой комнате. Ага. Нет. Не забудь газету. А где ее не забуду-то? Это наша комната. Ага. Так. А, вот она газета. О, можно вот сюда. Окей.
Hey, Steve, I'm Jimmy James. Remember me?
I guess not.
Hey, how come you haven't been putting the paper out for me in the morning? Yeah? Well, try to remember, will ya? How'd you expect a working Joe to make an honest living? You don't put the paper out, I'm out of a job.
So what? You don't get paid for picking up papers anyway.
The Sentinel building burnt down. What the heck else am I supposed to do? Listen, start putting that paper out and everything will be Jake, okay? That's all I want. That and a pair of sneakers. Walking this route every day has worn holes in mine. Say, you got any spare sneakers? Whoa, that's great. Maybe we could trade.
What could you give me?
You know Miss Whaley and Principal Harold down at the school? Well, I found out they're messing around with each other in the broom closet. I can tell you when they meet and trade you some keys that'll let you catch them red-handed. What do you say?
Ну, я не знаю, честно говоря, все равно.
You could watch them. I know they're pretty old and ugly and all, but it beats underwear catalogs to all get out. Besides, maybe you could scare them into paying you or something. If you took a picture of them or something. See you later, alligator.
Так, погоди. Я тебе должен дать бумагу.
There now. See how easy it is? Things are so much better between us when you remember. See you later, alligator.
Так, фрисби. Так. В общем, яснее пока что не становится. Армейский. Антенна. Старым добрым электромагнитным полем. Гул даже во сне. Не очень это полезно, но в целом лучше, конечно, чем... Так, ну, видимо, пойдемте поизучаем окрестности. Мой дом, бакалея, почта, парикмахерская, ложа. Ой, дом Джонсона, заброшенный дом, кладбище, морг, пожарная часть, полицейский участок, здание редакции, школа, скотобойня, телестанция, кладбище, ракетная база, почта, парикмахерская, дом Потсдамов, ложа, заброшенный дом, морг, кладбище. Вот это, конечно, огонь. Давайте сохранимся. Так, я могу же здесь... Нет, не могу же я ничего здесь делать. Мой дом. Так, наш товарищ ушел. Игра 0-1. На самом деле здесь, конечно, имеет смысл все поизучать, посмотреть. Редакция. Давайте сюда сходим. В форме колеса повозки. дверь гаража. Не мешало бы перекрасить, изучить окно высоко, чтобы взглянуть. Ладно. Убана. Здравствуйте.
There he is, my future son-in-law. And how's he doing today? What brings him to the Potsdam household, huh? Huh? What a card.
Would I kid about something like that?
Well, you always were a kidder, Steve. Your mother just telephoned us about your latest shenanigans. Isn't that right, Mrs. Potsdam?
Sure did, Mr. Potsdam. You little rascal.
Imagination's a swell thing to have, in small amounts. Man needs to keep his feet on the ground, especially if he's getting married. Tell me, is your father feeling better? Is he going back to the slaughterhouse anytime soon?
Скотобойня?
I can't imagine a better job than working in a slaughterhouse.
Нет.
Bite your tongue with that serpent's tooth. Your dad's slaughterhouse is the most successful business in Harvest. Oh,
У него
sure.
изменилось
Cutting animals
отношение.
open may not be much fun. Reaching into their bodies and yanking out the bloody guts, intestines dangling and slapping against you, the smell of death and shit in your nostrils all the time. Well, meat.
Мясо. Ну, звучит не очень.
Meat is the foundation of any decent society. Everyone needs at least 3 servings of red meat a day. And anyone who says otherwise is a commie. And once you're married to Stephanie, I'll be part of the family too. And your father will give me all the meat I want.
Ложа.
Kinda makes up for not getting into the lodge.
В принципе. Кто ест мясо, тот, конечно, не коммунист. Это безусловно. Но и при этом он явно не веган. А убивать животных — это оставлять слишком большой углеродный след. Это тоже недопустимо. Можно вполне есть мясо, которое будет идентифицировано как мясо, но сделано из, например, не мяса, и тогда все решится. А скотобойня, ее можно идентифицировать как богадельня последнего дня для животных, например. Почему бы и нет? Стефани, почему она под
Well,
домашним
don't look at
арестом?
me. Mrs. Potsdam wants Stephanie to study hard for her finals. If it was up to me, you could go straight upstairs, but you know, the little woman, you'll have to ask her permission to see Stephanie. Sorry, Steve. The last thing I want to do is upset you and your father before the wedding. Not with the meat at stake. You will remind your dad about the meat, won't you? Meat is the foundation.
Why are you so anxious?
There's wonders inside. I've heard there's
Yes.
more meat in there than they know what to do with. Now that you're of age,
Им потребуется свежая кровь. Свадьба.
Tell me about the...
well, it looks like we're going to have to hold the wedding down at the funeral parlor, since I'm not a member of...
Так, мистер Мойнхан.
Moynihan is the undertaker. He also runs the Wayward Hotel. Since he's providing the space for the wedding, you might stop by and say hello to him, just to be sociable.
I haven't seen my...
He's not going to die.
Like I said, I don't know. That woman, Mom...
Well, next time you see him, be sure to tell him that I said hello. And tell him that I'm praying for his speedy recovery.
Yeah, fine. If I see him.
You should be more concerned. If he dies, then who's going to take over the slaughterhouse? Who's going to tend to the meat? I guess as his son, you'd take over. Right?
Окей. Немножечко пожирающее мясо. Ага. Что же, в целом это странно, но сомнительно. После подтвердились, да, окей. Сомнительно, но окей. Шкаф. растения, спаржа, шатва, пепельница. Так, здесь у нас миссис. Она выглядит очень похожа на мать. Свежевитый аромат растения. Искусственное. Свежевитый аромат. Холодильник заперт. Кусты мешают ее открыть. Кусты. Стол.
Hello,
Здравствуйте.
Steve. Have you flossed today?
Да, точь-в-точь.
Honestly, you men can insult a woman without even knowing you've done it. What a horrible thing to say.
You're both standing around baking cookies. Same cut of dress. Same pearls. So bizarre.
There's nothing bizarre about baking cookies. The Harvest Charity Bake Sale is Friday, you know, and by gosh, Mrs. Marvin Potsdam Jr. can be counted on to do her share. Just because I'm doing housework doesn't mean I have to be a drudge. It's a wife's duty to look good for her husband at all times. What's wrong with wearing pearls, for heaven's sake?
Nothing, but you look like June Cleaver. Some kind of sitcom mom.
Sitcom?
Geez, you know, a situation comedy. The weird part is, I can't remember how I know that.
I'm much too busy with housework to watch TV. Maybe Mr. Potsdam would know about sitcoms. Stephanie doesn't watch TV, though. She's grounded.
Ну, хорошо, да. То есть, мне, в общем-то, и... давайте спросим по
You
поводу
mustn't be too hard on Mr. Potsdam, Steve. He's a disappointed man. No matter how many lodge admission forms he fills out, they keep turning him down. He has a new application in, though, so keep your fingers crossed. If he joins the lodge, you and Stephanie can have your wedding in the Chapel of Love, rather than over at Moynihan's place.
Окей, то есть у нас есть выбор жениться в похоронном зале или в этой ложе любви, но туда надо как-то попасть, если мы, наверное, захотим. В игре, кстати, есть несколько концовок, насколько я знаю, но это не главное. Так, ложа.
What can you tell me about the lodge?
Just that they're exclusive and secretive. If you're curious, you ought to pick up a lodge application at the post office and take it over to the sergeant-at-arms. Isn't that a thought? Forget Mr. Potsdam. If you became a member of the order, we could hold the wedding inside the lodge. My, wouldn't that be lovely?
Так, ну, видимо, нас подталкивают к тому, что мы должны попасть в ложу. Чтобы попасть в ложу, мы должны подать заявление.
Tell me about this wedding.
Well, it's set for 3 weeks.
3 недели.
We're holding it over at Shady Oaks, Mr. Moynihan's funeral parlor.
Say what?
Now, I know it's not a very romantic place, but there's nowhere else to hold it, thanks to Mr. Potsdam.
Так,
Give my regards to your parents.
погоди.
Hello, dear. Come to see Stephanie, have you?
Да.
She's upstairs. Go right on up. Just remember, give my regards to your parents.
Еще раз.
Why not go upstairs and talk to Stephanie? She'd enjoy it. Give my regards.
Так, Стефани наверху. Изучить стойка. Кстати, баг. Так, ладно. Наверх. Наверх сюда мы можем. О. Опа. Ваза. Высокотехнологичного пластика. Кондиционер. Рабочий химикатор. Букеш смотрится отлично. Про сырое мясо и его пользу для здоровья. В принципе, сырое мясо это можно его есть, говядину. Ну, если, конечно, вы не коммунист. Достаточно воды для кладовок. Пойдемте в кладовку, не поддается. Не знаю, куда нам. Давайте сюда. Опа, Стефани. Как выйти? Погоди, Стефани. Сюда куда? Это ванная. Ну. Уже свое отслужила. Мог бы взять так. Жесткие как доски. Мусорное ведро. Угу. Просто прелесть. Окно. Шикарный вид на алюминиевый сайдинг. Бывает, в принципе, обычное состояние туалета. Немного косо. И еще здесь, в принципе-то так достаточно просторная ванная. Ладно, давайте поговорим со Стефани. Зато очень удобно. Она достаточно близко от нас. Батарея, только розовая. Мебель. Ну хорошо.
Who are you? What are you doing in my room?
Опа.
Haven't you heard? We're getting married.
So, you're the one. Steve, isn't it?
You mean you don't know me?
I mean, I don't know anyone. I don't remember anything. How many times do I have to say it?
Just one, Stephanie, because I can't remember a damn thing either.
Really? Oh God, I thought it was just me.
You're not alone. Can you tell me what's going on here?
Those people downstairs have locked me in my room. They say I'm grounded until the wedding.
Угу. Ну, во всяком случае, мы не одни такие. Это поддерживает. Так, те люди.
They claim to be my parents. I can't dispute it because I can't remember for sure one way or the other, but it doesn't feel right.
Кстати, прикольно. Здесь достаточно прям все анимировано, так как в фантасмагории. Что-то похожее, такой стиль. Но я не
Do you
здесь.
have any idea where you do belong?
No, but I'm fairly sure I don't belong in Harvest.
Yeah. I can't remember anything, but I feel in my heart that the woman downstairs is not my mother. She's like this thing, like a parody, a bad joke with mother as the punchline. Does that make any sense?
Да, я
I'm glad I'm not
понимаю.
the only one who sees it that way. I thought I was going crazy.
Join the club. But we can't both be crazy, Stephanie.
Either way, something really weird is going on here. I've got to escape, and so do you. Because in a way, whether you know it or not, I think we're both grounded.
Ага. Ну, хорошо.
It's been hell. They treat me well, but they won't let me leave this room. Not even to go out in the yard. Not until the wedding.
They won't tell you why?
Each one blames the other for grounding me. They make up different excuses. Different things I did, none of which I remember. So I sit up here, watch the world outside my window, and listen to the noises in the house. Every morning, a weird boy comes to the house and picks up the
Мы
paper.
его встречали.
He doesn't deliver the paper. He
Забирали.
picks up scrap paper that Miss Potsdam sets out on the porch for him. Some mornings she forgets, and the boy gets furious.
Так, хорошо.
Anything else you can tell me?
I hear these weird scraping sounds in the bathroom sometimes,
Когти.
like something is sliding along the wall. Claws, maybe. And Mr. Potsdam, I don't like the way my dear daddy looks at me. Both of them are always watching me. But especially him.
You don't think they're dangerous, do you?
I think this whole place is dangerous. I think we've got to escape. Before it's too late.
Звучит как план.
The wedding is only 3 weeks away. Not much time to get to know each other, is it? No,
If it comes down to it, we just won't take the vows.
I don't think anything in Harvest is that simple. Too many people are determined that we get hitched.
Why?
Potsdam wants the meat your father promised him. Your parents want to force you to settle down. Mrs. Potsdam wants to have the wedding in the lodge. Me? I just want to escape.
Ложа.
Everything in Harvest seems to revolve around this damned lodge. This Order of the Harvest Moon. They're responsible for this insane bake sale that's coming, and for the Harvest Blood Drive, too. When people talk about the lodge, it's always in this hushed, reverent tone.
Опа.
Mom keeps telling me that women can't join, but she keeps pressuring me to get you to join.
She's not the only one who wants me to sign on with the lodge.
That's probably the worst thing you could do.
You think the lodge is some kind of trap?
I think all of Harvest is a trap.
If that's true, maybe joining the lodge is the way out.
Look, why not explore the town a little? I can't get out of here, but if I could, that's what I'd do. Maybe you can figure out what's happening here without going anywhere near the lodge.
You're really afraid of the lodge, aren't you?
I look at that building, all lit up at night, and I get scared.
I mean, look at the damn thing. Seem like a harmless bunch of Masons to you?
Ну, хорошо.
Escape?
Harvest is a prison, Steve. Don't forget that. Of course I'm right. Maybe my amnesia isn't total after all. You're familiar to me,
Раньше
like we've met before, in another life.
Не знаю, не знаю.
Maybe we really do live here. Maybe we were together, and the same thing happened to both of us. An accident. Something.
Neither of us has bumps on our heads, if that's what you're getting at.
Have you been able to remember anything else? Anything at all?
Well, I have had these recurring dreams.
Жидкость.
Just fragments, really. Strange, abstract images. Liquid, chrome.
Probably just a dream.
Well, have you thought about how to escape Harvest?
Ну, понятно. А мы можем что-то новое сказать?
Escape?
Harvest is... You haven't... Maybe... Neither of us...
Have you been able to...
Well...
Probably.
Well...
Escape?
Harvest is... Of course...
Ну,
back.
понятно. Ну, что ж. Яснее, конечно, нам не стало изучить мебель. Зато у нас появился условный союзник. Так, давайте пойдем посмотрим. Так, нет. Кстати, если мы ему зададим вопрос.
If it isn't my favorite son in...
Ага. Текст. Мы можем что-то набрать.
Hello, dear. Come to see...
Нет.
Why then, whatever are you...
Текст. То есть мы можем
my-
что-то сюда еще забить какие-то. Там, наверное, такие. Ладно. Интересно. То есть, видимо, в каких-то ключевых местах нас попросят ввести что-то. Отражение труда распределения гаража. Чтобы заглянуть. Окей. Интересно, каким образом дом Джонсона? Погоди. Наш дом, Потсдамов. Вот он. Бакалея, почта. На почту что-то нам говорили, ракетная база. Скотобойня, школа, телестанция, обеды, полицейский участок, пожарная часть, здание редакции, отель, Про отель, кстати, кто-то говорил. Морг. Кладбище. Джонсон. Брошенный дом. Гостиная. Гостиная. Мы можем зайти. Господи.
It's not often that I get visitors. I am Tetsuo Crumb. The ignorant of harvest called me the Wasp Woman.
I don't understand.
The politics of honey, the Judeo-Christian rites of sacrifice and conventional taboo. The politics of honey are intertwined with the age-old struggle of the aesthetic versus the commercial. Because I choose to raise wasps instead of bees, I'm frowned upon by the community. Why? Well, raising bees is acceptable because they produce honey. But sometimes it's not what is produced.
I don't see any particular use.
Why must everything have a use? Is money always the determining factor? More slender, more aerodynamic than the bee. The wasp is a joy to behold.
Что?
Beautiful and juicy. Isn't that enough to compensate for the little drawbacks?
Okay.
Well, as you can see, the little darlings do love to sting. Another source of prejudice for the masses, and another reason to love them. Bees are like animals. They sting only for a reason, for sacrifice. They have no conception of individual sensation, of pleasure. Yes, a great deal of pleasure. The wasp is a sensual being, not a laborer, hedonistic instead of industrial. Some think them quick to anger. In truth, they are easily swayed to ecstasy. They penetrate your flesh, and the muscular contractions in their thorax as they pump venom could be likened to the muscular contractions of ejaculation. Each painful welt, an act of love.
В целом, может быть, так оно, конечно, и есть, но
When a
нет.
bee stings, it rips itself apart and dies for its audacity. This appeals to those raised worshipping a god that demands sacrifice and atonement. But the wasp is promiscuous. They are not as sympathetic to the masses because they don't die when they sting. They live to sting another day, and they take pleasure from it.
Понятно.
A trivia.
Осиными ульями. Ну... Понос. Красочное изображение осы. Улей. Осиные ульи. Это было странно. Стоп. Стоп, окно. Ну, хорошо. Ну, ладно, возможно, нам сюда не надо было. Джонсон. Кто такой Джонсон? Мистер Джонс. Такер 48-го года выпуска. Сюда мы не можем пройти. Крышка люка. Мерзкая вонь от канализации. Гараж. Такер по ночам.
Hello, Steve. How's the husband-to-be?
Other than having no memory, I guess I'm all right.
All right. You should be ecstatic, considering what you're getting into, if you haven't gotten into it already. Speaking of which, I heard Stephanie was grounded. Her daddy's worried about getting his meat. So if I were him, I'd be more concerned about Stephanie getting some meat.
Right. And you are...
You always were a kidder, Steve. I'm Mr. Johnson, remember? Glad you stopped by. Just got finished waxing the tucker. I could use a little relaxation. But since Edna's not here, I might as well talk to you. Edna Fitzpatrick is one of the snootiest women in town. I declare there isn't a woman in Harvest that turned me away. If I was interested, that is. Just because she owns DNAs, she's got all these highfalutin ideas about independence. And her with a little girl to raise. That child needs a father. And Edna, well, she needs a good hard penis. I'll admit DNA's done it does good business. But money isn't everything to a woman. Can money keep you warm at night? Can you wrap your thighs around it? Or rake bloody gashes in its back with your painted hollowed fingernails? Edna! Edna! So, how's Stephanie?
Мне кажется, что-то не так с ним, и он немножко на ней зациклен, но кто знает, какая у него травма. Эдна?
Edna Fitzpatrick is one of the snootiest women.
Ребенок?
Karen's only 5 years old. Since Mr. Fitzpatrick passed away, in Edna's arms and legs, I might add, Edna's been raising Karen on her own. What a shame. To deprive a little girl of a positive male role model, and her mama of a fine, stiff penis.
What makes you so sure she needs a penis?
You saying Edna's getting it from someone else? Like maybe that damn Sheriff Dwayne? He's over at DNA's diner every day from noon to 1, eating his dadgum pie. And I got a feeling he'd like Edna for dessert. Sure, it's the only diner in town, but I'm sure he's got more on his mind than food. I'll admit DNA's diner does good business. But money isn't everything to a woman. Can money keep you... Speaking of Stephanie, I still haven't gotten an invitation to the wedding yet.
I don't have anything to do with that.
That's okay. Personally, I'd prefer a pass to the honeymoon. You could use the back seat of my Tucker for the maiden voyage. It's plenty big. Believe you me. I'd drive you around. And I wouldn't look in the back seat. I guarantee it. Though if you'd like to come up front and take the wheel a while, I wouldn't say nay.
Okay.
Heck of an automobile, isn't she? Damn shame I have to sit out here and watch over her all the time. But if I didn't, those stupid kids might scratch her up playing ball. Hell yes, it's real. I wouldn't be so protective of her if she was just a reproduction. I'm mighty particular about my Tucker. I had the garage remodeled like a fortress, so I could lock her up at night and get some sleep.
I'm sure she's safe enough inside.
A few months back, someone broke into my house, trying to get into the garage. I had to gripe like hell before the sheriff agreed to start the evening patrols and instigate the curfew. Speaking of stuff,
I don't have...
that's heck of an automobile. Don't see why not. I'm mighty particular about my...
I'm sure she's...
A few... Bye now.
Ну, мы ничего с ней не можем пока сделать. Ну, что ж, нам понятно, что он связан с закусочной, наверное, морг. Ложа, дом, пожарная часть, полицейский участок, здание редакция. Ага, здание редакция. 3 пожарных гидранта, здание сгорело дотла. Ага. Трубы. Лопату можно взять. Лопату можно использовать на зале. Какой-то обрыв бумаги. Продажа печенье. Опа, пуговицы. Почта. Угу. Мы что-то сделали правильно. Действие зала. Ага. Так. Супер. Ну... Ну, что же... Возможно, теперь нам надо сходить на почту. Пойдемте поговорим с пожарным, как это вообще случилось. О, товарищ пожарный, сейчас мы можем внутрь зайти. Забор. О, это, видимо, на знак этого харвеста. Жатва. Забор. С розовым оттенком. Ну, видимо, это норм. У вас сирена, кстати.
Please excuse the mess. They've done wonders with the upstairs bedroom, but this garage defies color coordination.
Спальня наверху. Что?
Sorry, Steve. After I'm through here, I've got...
Что?
Sorry, Steve. After I'm through here, I've got...
Ты уверен, что ты по правильные действия делаешь? Да, смотри здесь. Что-то слюна. Фаллические конструкции. Голый мужчина. Фийский замок. Все несколько раз. Сибирский пейзаж. Поговорить с пожарным.
Don't bother me, I'm sketching. Oh, look what you made me do!
Hello, Steve. Welcome to the House of Flame, as we like to call it. Once he gets barking, a good piece of meat is the only way to shut him up.
Мясо.
There you go, Spot. So, Steve, bet you don't remember me. Heard about that short in the old wiring. I'm Fire Marshal Sparky, head of your fire department.
Начальник Искорка. Здравствуй, начальник Искорка.
Don't be silly. Everyone thinks that amnesia kick is a scream. Well, you always were a kidder, Steve. Besides, it's my job to keep abreast of developments in the community, to better serve you, the public. I'm sure you'll be thrilled when you learn of the many civic improvements we have planned for your fire department.
Such as...
Well, don't tell any of the others, but I've secured a bolt of the most divine moth material. I've hidden it because, well, if any of these Marys got a hold of it, it'd be gone in a jiffy. So I'd rather keep it hush-hush. I'm going to make new drapes for the firehouse, and if I have any left, cross your fingers, I'm going to make everyone matching mauve pillow cozies.
Those are civic improvements.
Don't be such a party pooper, Steve. We're talking about art here. Besides, we haven't had a fire in Harvest since the newspaper building burned down. Though I'll admit that the wasp woman's place is one big accident waiting to happen. Isn't that right, Spots?
Мне кажется, с этими людьми не все в порядке. Пожар в редакции.
A dreadful affair. You wouldn't think that a brick and steel building with a sprinkler system could go up that quickly. Art enriches the community, Steve. No less than a pulsing fire hose or a fireman beating down a blazing door. So what if we're drawing a nude man? So what if all we ever draw is a nude man, or the same nude man over and over in all sorts of provocative positions? Context, not content. Process, not subject. Don't be so gauche, Steve. It's beneath you.
Ну, в принципе, человек дело говорит, зачем тушить пожары, когда есть искусство. Искусство, оно вечное, тем более искусство здесь тонкая грань вот этого определения разного грани, и можно по-разному тоже как-то классифицировать себя. Это весьма серьезная заявка. Искусство.
Art enriches the community, Steve. No less than a pulsing.
Вот, поняли.
Some people think all we do is sit around, sketching, fetching examples of manhood for our own amusement. Nothing could be further from the truth. All the dried-out paper wasp nests clustered around our wooden house, why, it's a chemlog just... A dreadful... Oh, please. Dwayne was glad enough to see the thing go up, and so was McKnight. If you could... Now don't you go moving. Bye-bye.
I don't converse on the job, Steve. I don't...
Stop it! You're...
Мешай. Что-то сумма. Ну, что могу сказать? В принципе, это пожарные гораздо больше...
Sorry, Steve. After I'm through here, I've got cleaning to do. Rush, rush.
Сразу видно, что у них есть вполне себе, так сказать, разнообразие и в работе, и в цветах, и они совершенствуются, и ищут себя. Это похвально, похвально. Они нам дают пример. Это смело. Для тех времен, мне кажется, это смелое заявление, и хорошо, что авторы поддерживают эту позицию. Можно поговорить с полицией. Почта США. Вот это не обращает внимания, он слишком занят составлением протокола. Угу. Флаг. Звездно-полосатый, да? Да, здравствует звездно-полосатый. Почему бы и нет? Полиция, полиция. Отлично, зайдем. Кофеварка. Ить.
Hello, Steve. Let me introduce myself. I'm Sheriff Dwayne, and this here's Loomis.
Pleasure, I reckon.
Then, we haven't met before?
Of course we have, but I heard about your alleged amnesia and figured I'd play along. I sure hope this is just a prank, and not the start of some insanity plea. Keep your nose clean, or you'll wind up in jail, and that's no place to hold a wedding.
Ну, в принципе, нам не нужны неприятности, конечно. А почему ты знаешь?
Why do you want to break your poor mama's heart with all this amnesia bunk?
I'm telling you the truth. Why won't anyone believe me?
Well, you've always been a kidder, Steve.
Yeah, so everybody keeps telling me.
Boy, you need to stop all this funning and get serious. You've got a wedding coming up soon. Heck, you should be thinking about your career and about joining the lodge.
Угу. Правильно. Так, свадьба.
Amnesia or no, you can't have forgotten you're about to marry the prettiest little thing in Harvest. I think you and Stephanie are perfect for each other. I just hope her father's disappointment doesn't spoil everything.
Disappointment?
Mr. Potsdam wants to hold the wedding in the lodge, but he'll never get in. Like all the rest, he's always hanging around the post office the first day of the month, waiting for Boyle to bring out that month's lodge applications. There's always a long line, never enough applications to go around, and even if you do get an application, chances are you're right out of luck. Fewer called to the order and even less accepted. And Potsdam, well, they've turned him down so many times, unless he does something radical, he'll never get in.
Okay.
Crime-wise, nothing much has happened in Harvest since the newspaper fire. Oh, sure, every week or so we get the odd transient dropping dead, but other than that, it gets pretty slow around here. Sure, you remember, the Sentinel building burned down about 6 months ago.
That's what I'm telling you, Sheriff. I don't remember anything. Why won't you believe I have amnesia?
Well, you've always been a kidder, Steve. Anyway, the fireman said the fire was caused by arson. I never caught the perp, though.
But we found the gas can that was used. Yes, sirree, Bob. It's in the evidence room.
Loomis, that's classified. Darn it.
How many times you gonna have to tell me to keep my mouth shut, I wonder? Sorry, boss.
You've got the gas can in the evidence room? Did you dust it for prints?
You've been watching too much TV, Steve. Heck, who can make out all those curvy lines anyhow? No, it's sitting in there gathering dust, clean as the day we found it. Just in case I ever need a spare gas can. That case is closed, Steve. Loomis here is my deputy. Without him, I'd have a hard time keeping the peace, or at least taking a lunch break. Mainly Loomis answers the phone and babysits the office while I'm out, though sometimes he likes to go in the back and stain the jail mattress. Isn't that right, Loomis?
Oh, now, Sheriff, what you gotta go and say that for?
Loomis has more than his share of problems. I wouldn't invite him to the wedding. Or if you do, make sure he doesn't catch the garter. That could be embarrassing.
Oh, I wouldn't do nothing, Dwayne. But I sure would like a little garter that'd been around Stephanie's thigh. Oh, well, that'd be right special.
Ну, хорошо.
Amnesia or no, you can't have forgotten you're about.
Disappointment.
Mr. Potsdam wants them there.
Так, понятно. Преступная свадьба, все.
Stop on.
Anything I... Help yourself. Speaking of which, you're real lucky to be marrying Stephanie. She don't look like a good woman. I just hope she don't turn out like Mrs. Loomis, or mercy forbid Mrs. Phelps. Good women can be awful hard on a man's needs, don't you know? Oh, gosh darn, she's purty. Kinda like a gal I seen on some of them French postcards they used to make. Used to be. I'd take them things, go back into jail if nobody was there and kind of
Полицейские тоже заняты здесь делами, они не теряют времени.
Fold some towels. That was for Mrs. Loomis. Oh gosh, I wish I had some of them girly pictures, but Mrs. Loomis won't let me keep them in the house. I still remember the time she caught me holding some of them pictures up with one hand. She took the broom to me. howled like a hound dog, the broom going up and down, flashing straw and blood and straw, and I drooped. I was crying so bad, and it was so hard I had to crawl under the porch naked with all the black winter spiders, and I got bit something fierce, little fangs digging into my bare behind all over. I ask you, is that any way to treat a man? And Mrs. Phelps and the sheriff don't make it no easier neither. Mrs. Phelps down at the general store don't help things none. She's got them special picture books, the one with the ladies, but she won't sell me none on account of she knows my wife, Mrs. Loomis. Dad gum if that don't burn my britches. If and I even ask about 'em, she tells Mrs. Loomis and I get the broom. Enough to break a man's heart, her burning my French postcards, and me unable to replace them. A man's got needs, don't you know? Of course, I don't necessarily mean French postcards. That's just what we called them in my day. Any kind of girly picture book. The kind men like.
Не очень понятно, что мне от этого будет.
I'd be right grateful, kiddo, if you were to bring me one.
Окей.
Why, you sure ought to appreciate what a man's got to do sometimes in a parked car, or a waist-high knothole in a tree, or jail cell at noon. Matter of fact, Mrs. Phelps down at the gym. But enough.
Ладно, понятно. Раскрытое убийство забит под завязку. Ну, хорошо. Дверь заперта. Может быть, так мы попадем в комнату с уликами?
Boy. Stop.
Ну, хорошо. Шкаф для документов. Пустой шкаф с раскрытыми. Так. Что ж, давайте сохранимся. Пока что проясняется, что с городом не все в порядке, что нас Этна это та, которая даже не представляю, что фраг с сиденьем из натуральной кожи. Окей. Беды у Эдны. Открыто 24 часа. Это хорошо. Ну, давайте зайдем. О, тут как много всех. Место. Опа, шериф. Мы же с тобой только сейчас говорили. Кэрин.
Hi, what's your name?
Karen,
What are you doing?
playing. My mom is working, so I gotta stay out of her hair. Wanna play?
Not now, maybe later.
Okay. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Так. Здравствуй.
Hello there, Steve. Here for lunch?
No, just here looking around, though I'm not entirely sure where here is.
Oh, I forgot. You're playing your little amnesia prank. Well, boy, this is DNA's Diner. Isn't that right, Edna?
Don't listen to Sheriff Twain. This is Edna's Diner. But ever since the E burned out on the sign, they've been giving me a hard time.
Now, don't be like that, Edna. It's a great place to eat, which is good, since it's the only place to eat in Harvest.
Ключевые фразы.
Stop on by.
Выход.
Oh, Steve, what are you doing sneaking up on me like that? God, for a second I thought you were Mr. Johnson. What would you like to order? Sure. And my name's Edna Fitzpatrick. I'm not the one with amnesia.
Then you believe me.
Well, you always were a kidder, Steve.
I guess I've changed. I'm not kidding.
Now, Steve, faking amnesia won't help anything.
If you don't want to marry Stephanie, then don't. But don't play sick, for heaven's sake. I'd expect that from Karen, not an 18-year-old.
Karen?
You've met Karen, my 8-year-old. Other than the diner, she's all I have.
С ней тоже не все в порядке. Ну, точнее,
There
как.
isn't a nicer girl in Harvest than Stephanie, Steve. You should be grateful that she's promised you her hand.
I don't remember that happening, Edna.
Honestly, you men are so childish. I don't know what it is about marriage that turns even the bravest man into a coward. I was going to marry Karen's father when he just up and ran out on me one night. I heard that he joined the lodge, but if he did, I never saw him come out again. Even Sheriff Twain wasn't able to find out what happened to him.
Mm-hmm.
There isn't a nicer...
I don't remember
Mr. Johnson has a liking for me. I'd call it a crush, but that's too innocent a word. He's a bitter man with too much time on his hands. He's never gotten over being rejected by the lodge, and there's something unwholesome in the way he looks at me. I'm always glad when the sheriff comes in every day at noon.
Ну, хорошо.
The lodge is the repository of all wisdom. You should join the Order of the Harvest Moon, Steve, and soon.
Why? For God's sake, what is it about this place?
The wheat ripens and waits not for the scythe. The farmer who waits too long, it were better that he use the scythe to rip his own stomach out than to stay his scythe when the wheat ripens. The harvest moon wanes and then comes winter. An empty belly, the body sun's belly, gurgling within or bloody on the ground. What does it benefit a man if he gains his soul and loses the world? You hunger. Feed yourself before it's too late. Oh.
Edna?
Steve. What happened? Were we talking about Boyle? Or was it Karen?
You seemed strange there for a minute.
I'm sorry. I'm under a lot of stress. Running this diner all alone. Forgive me. Stop.
Ну, в целом-то понятно, что они немножечко перепрограммированные ребятки. Со своими проблемками, но в целом ничего. Достаточно добротные. С кого-то можно брать пример. Телестанция. Ну, телестанция это... Оттуда, наверное, это... Индийцы. Да, чё? Да, чё? Окей. Рейнджеры. Что? Аплодисменты. Управление залом.
Stay tuned, buckaroos. There's more to come on Range Riders Cowboy Roundup. So don't go away. And what's your name, hombre?
Steve.
Steve's a swell name. My dog's name is Steve. Would you like my autograph, Steve? Here you go, then. Violence? What about it?
Ну, с одной стороны, мы же в жестокой игре, мы должны сказать, что мне нравится кровь и насилие. С другой стороны, мы же вроде можем и более-менее в адеквате быть. Точнее, вне в адеквате. Давайте будем неадекватом.
Violence is as American as apple pie and low SAT scores. Where would we be right now if the cowboys hadn't gone out west and butchered innocent people to steal their land? Answer me that, Mr. Know-It-All.
But what about studies that have shown that children become more violent when watching violence?
Buckaroo, I rip the guts out of godless heathen Injuns. Most kids don't see godless heathen Injuns on a regular basis, and if they do, they better either get their eyes checked or do like old Range Rider and shoot the bejesus out of them. lest they want to go untreated for psychotic hallucinations, or wind up with their scalps hanging from a buckskin belt. Oh, shit! Ow! Shit on a stickaroo! The parents that are griping about violence on TV are the same parents that go outside in the morning to fetch their papers, secure in the knowledge that they won't get an arrow through the noodle because the violence they hate so much done cleared the engines out of the neighborhood.
Yeah, civilization has benefited from violence. But should violence be treated as entertainment?
Check my rating, son. Violence is entertainment. I just put it on the air. If some kid watches, that says something about the kid, not me. Now, excuse me, we're going back on the air. Can't talk now, buckaroo. We're vile. What a buckaroo. Oh, shit! Ow! Shit on a stickaroo!
Мы можем, кстати,
Check it now.
второй вариант с насилием.
Can't talk now. Vile. What red-blooded American doesn't? Nothing like an exploding head to get the...
Even so, do you think society pays a heavy price?
Of course they pay a heavy price. Just look at the net profits. They'll line up around the block to... Now, excuse me.
Ну, в целом понятно. Мы можем вовнутрь зайти. О, фига себе. Мистер Макнайт. Да, чё? Здравствуйте.
Hey, Sport. This is a private office.
Yeah, I know, Mr.
McKnight. I own and operate this station. Have you brought me some news for tonight's broadcast, or...
I've lost my memory. That's news.
The hell it is! You always were a kidder, Steve. Any real news to tell me?
Actually, I was just wanting to know more about the TV station.
Hey, WHAR is the only television station in Harvest. Since the old Sentinel went under, what with the newspaper building burning down and all, we're golden. Nobody competes with us, Sport. Hey now, Sport, that's an irresponsible allegation. I had nothing to do with that fire. Just because WHAR may have benefited from it and I danced on the ashes a little doesn't mean I torched the place. You can ask Sheriff Dwayne. If you have any doubts.
You seem awfully touchy on the subject, Sport.
I'm touchy when people try to muscle their way into my business. I'd appreciate it if you'd leave my office and don't come back. Don't hurry back. Don't hurry.
Не торопись обратно. В целом-то как бы нам не сильно нужно это все. За камерами никого нет. Окей. Ладно. Все понятно. Очередь из индейцев. Скотобойня, школа. Школа, хорошо. Мы ее, правда, окончили. Продажа печенья. Не работает.
Steve, good of you to drop by, big guy. Haven't seen you since graduation. A lot of changes, I hear.
You could say that.
Good, good. That's a nice part of my job. Turning fine young men and women out into the world, and then watching them prosper. Of course, I was able to reach more people at the old Sentinel, God bless her. But then again, I never got to see the results of my work up close before.
Who are you?
You know very well I'm Mr. Harold, the principal of Gain Memorial. Steve, I've heard about this amnesia nonsense. I had hoped you'd be in the lodge by now, fine young fellow like yourself. But now, I think maybe you need a little more quality time. Boy, I sure miss the old newspaper. The sheriff never did investigate that fire properly. Call it a newspaper man's instinct, though I can't imagine why Sheriff Dwayne would cover up anything. I mean, the only ones who stood to profit from the newspaper going out of business was the owner of the TV station, and Mr. McKnight had an airtight alibi. Still, if not for the fire, I never would have wound up as principal of Gain Memorial.
Gain Memorial? Sounds like a cemetery or...
This institution was named for a great man, whose first name escapes me. He epitomized the great potential within us all, big guy. I hear there's an honorary plaque commemorating him within the lodge.
Why do you keep calling me big guy?
A sign of respect, lad. As principal, my station is higher than yours now, but you never know what the future holds, so you should always hedge your bets and pay tribute to your inferiors. You never know who will come to power, or who, even now, wields it behind the scenes. For all I know, you might already be a member of the order, with access to the lodge. If that were the case, you'd be my superior, and I'd be all that much better off having shown you respect and spent some quality time with you.
What do you mean, quality time?
Some, like Miss Whaley, favor stern discipline, corporal punishment, as a means of socialization. Myself, I temper discipline with love. Quality time can be such a warm, sharing experience. After just a few sessions, you'd stop this amnesia nonsense and become a productive member of society and a fit candidate for the lodge. You turned out pretty good, except for that amnesia nonsense.
It's not nonsense.
Well, you always were a kidder, Steve. Maybe you need a little straightening out.
What do you mean, quality time?
Some, like Miss Whaley, favor stern discipline, corporal punishment, as a means of socialization. Myself, I temper discipline with love. Quality time can be such a warm, sharing experience. After just a few seconds, big guy, borrowing some quality time, the greatest gift I can bestow upon you as your former... Surely mine is the most important position in Harvest. The ability to mold young minds. That's power. You might think Sheriff Dwayne's the most important man here, big guy. But he only deals with my failures. When I do my job right, the sheriff never sees a thing. Drop in again soon. Adult education is a...
Мы сюда можем пройти. Ну, так, это выход, видимо. Ничего для питья, шкафчики. Так, ё-моё.
My goodness, class, this is Stephen. He used to be a student here at Gain Memorial. Say hello, class. They're reticent. The educator's gravest problem today is the apathy of the students.
What's wrong with their heads?
I can tell you in one word, Stephen, discipline. Thank goodness you weren't a sulky bear. You were always a smiley bear.
Then, you remember me?
Not as such. So many pupils, Stephen. They come and they go. But I can always spot those who were nice boys. You can tell from the forehead. The lobes, right, class? I'm glad you stopped by, Stephen. Would you care to say a few words to the class about civic responsibility?
Not really. I was just passing through.
Oh, but you must, Stephen. A positive role model might be just the thing to inspire these little monsters. Stephen, have you any questions for me? Or shall I continue with class? Ask away then.
Can you tell me anything about Harvest?
Harvest was founded by the Order of the Harvest Moon about 100 years ago.
For what purpose?
Why, I'm sure you'd have to ask them. You'll find the members of the Order at the lodge.
This lodge. What do you know about it?
The building itself, like Harvest, was constructed with a specific purpose in mind. That noble intent is known only to those within the Order. You're at about the right age to join them, Stephen, and you will do so if you care about your future. We don't practice corporal punishment here. I've never believed in that old adage, spare the rod and spoil the child. A rod is too thin, but a baseball bat? That bridges the generation gap quite nicely. Oh dear, Colonel Monroe is conducting another air raid drill. Everyone into the hallway, quick!
If an A-bomb hits, what good is it gonna do to duck and cover?
My stars, that was exciting.
В целом, зачем задаешь дурацкие вопросы? Типа, зачем мы каждый раз учимся вот этот пригнись и прикройся от ракетной тревоги?
Stop by.
Так, а где эта стойка с битой? Вот не вижу, где это. Тематический рисунок ложь. Ладно, нам тут не сильно рады. Так, это мы отсюда пришли. Это сюда же, да? Окей. Ну, это было не очень, но в целом поучительно. Пойдемте спросим, значит, как раз вот в ракетную базу, раз мы увидели, что что-то она делает в этой игре. Вообще, думаю, надо обойти все локации перед как выйти отсюда. Мы просто пришли отсюда, и нашли где-то здесь должен быть выход. Выход здесь. Окей. Скотобойню не хочу.
Oh, who goes there?
They tell me my name is Steve.
All right. This is Section 21. Keep your distance, son. I wouldn't want to have to blow your head off.
That makes two of us.
So you're the amnesiac, huh? Just another draft-dodging ploy the way I see it. But at least you're not an alien. You see their ships every now and then. Sometimes swell bags one in the woods.
Who are you?
Colonel Buster Monroe, commander of the Harvest Nuclear Missile Installation, keeping America safe from those that would dye our flag red, white, and pink.
These are nuclear missiles?
Goddamn right they are. Every one of them ready to rain death on the Ruskies. All I gotta do is hit the button and blammo! The price of vodka goes through the roof. Along with the vodka.
Well, I suppose you have, safeguards against accidents?
Safeguards? Don't be such a weak sister. There are no safeguards. This is the 50s.
Then you have sole control of the, missiles.
That's right. Been in charge here since WW2, when I got my lower torso shot off in the war. Those pantywaists in Washington wanted to stick me behind a desk. To hell with that! They owed me! I left my legs in Dusseldorf. They owed me! Of course, they felt that after the trauma of having to crawl from Germany to England trailing my intestines behind me, I was too emotionally unstable to continue in the military. That's why they gave me this nice cushy job and put me in charge of the nuclear missiles.
В целом, обычно так и бывает. Самые неустойчивые правители руководят ядерным арсеналом. Так.
Why are you asking about the button, son?
I'm just a little nervous about it. I mean, suppose an accident happens.
Don't get your panties in a bunch, mister. The button is perfectly safe. I keep it on my person all the time. No commie bastard is getting his mitts on this button. No siree, Bob. No one initiates a nuclear holocaust in Harvest except me. Now, doesn't that make you feel better? Frankly, all these questions are making me a little suspicious of you. Maybe you're one of those pink-blooded Americans. Can you give me any reason why I shouldn't shoot you right now? I appreciate your honesty, comrade.
Ага. Конец игры. Ага. Ага. Мне нужна помощь. Действие, цель, взять предмет, общение изучить. О, тут еще боевка есть. Так. Ну что же. Мы остановились в полиции. И мы не сходили в школу, да? И в обеденную тоже не сходили. Ну, в принципе, наверное, на этом стоит завершать, раз уж мы закончили игру. В общем, товарищи, всем спасибо за просмотр. И помните, что все зло от компьютерных игр, они неадекватны. Гораздо лучше следовать иногда розовому, не коммунистическому, или наоборот коммунистическому. В общем, миру такому, который мы построили вопреки тлетворному влиянию компьютерных игр. Всем счастливо и пока. До скорых встреч.